Hello everybody, my name is Troy Erler and I'm the owner of Impact Polyhammers. Today I'm doing this video to give the viewers an idea of how we construct our dead blow sledgehammers and why we feel they are built to a much higher standard than our competitors. Now on the floor here I've set this 15-pound IPH sledgehammer on a block here. I want to show you our spring steel handle feature before I get into the internals and just show you why the build quality is the way it is. So I'm going to set this on the floor. It's going to take me a second here, just bear with me. And I'm just going to go and stand on this hammer and show you the resilience of our spring steel handle. You can actually run over this handle with a half-ton truck and it will bounce right back. And we did this for several reasons. One was to address the repetitive strain injury in the users. This sledgehammer is much easier on the user's fingers, wrists, elbows, and we call this a smooth strike handle, because it really takes a lot of the impact away from the user. Now we'll just go over to the bench here, and one of the reasons this was good timing for doing this video was the fact that I had the mold here in the shop for a tune-up. Mold release will build up on the inside of the mold over time, and I decided to bring it back to the shop and just give it a polish and re-emery it and bring the finish back up to where we want it before it goes back into service. Now on the left side here, what I've done is I set up one of our heads and our spring steel handle just to show you how we do this. It's a two-piece system, and that's what gives us our anti-vibration handle. Just going to zoom a little here, see if you can get a better shot. So you can see our head is positioned on pins dead center in our mold, as is the spring steel handle. When we cast the urethane, we preheat this mold and we pour our urethane in from that little half moon shape you can see cut out. That's where the urethane comes in, and we fill the whole chamber of the mold, casting the hammer. The handle is held in position in the neck tube by, basically there are two machined grooves in the neck and machined curves into the handle, and it interlocks everything together with urethane. And the one thing we do that nobody else in the industry does is we sandblast all these internals and hand coat them with amethane. And the amethane bonding process allows the urethane to bond to the steel much better than the urethane could bond to bare steel. Now I'm just going to make my way over to our bench here, and I'll just show you a few of the parts we have here. These are our face caps. Now these are 3/8 laser cut slugs, and that's what we use. We use an all welded construction on our head tubes on all our hammers, including our handheld series. We have laser cut slugs also out of 3/8 plate. These will get all welded together in a little jig to make up our neck tube assembly. I don't know if you'll see it here, but there is an O-ring groove machined in each end. We don't use O-rings, it's just to interlock the urethane and into the neck tube and bond our handle in. Here's a head that has had the weld passes laid in, so our neck assembly is now fastened to our head tube. And we just tacked on a few tack welds before the weld goes onto our head cap. And that gets welded 360 degrees. And here's one that's being welded. We'll actually, on this grinding disc here, we will actually buff this weld smooth because we know our users, sometimes these sledgehammers get used to the bitter end of their service life, and we don't want any sharp edges that could possibly do more damage to their equipment. The whole idea of the dead blow sledge is to prevent damage to the equipment they're being used on. There's a little production run of, these are actually 10-pound sledges. And what I'll show you here too is how we compare to our competition. Now, this tubing here is 1/8 wall. We'll just grab one of the heads and show you the way the guys who have the tool trucks do it. What they do is they'll punch a hole through the tubing. They'll run their handle right through the head and spot weld at the top. So when this sledgehammer gets used, what happens is